Hi everyone, I am going to be making a loaf of bread in my, let's see, this is a Breadman bread maker, and I thought I would show you guys how I do this. So on the inside there is this little pan for baking the bread, and then of course there is the little paddle that kneads the dough. So let me go ahead and put that on here. So the first step is to spray out the inside of the pan, that way the goodies do not stick. So I'm just using, cheap Walmart brand vegetable oil, and I'm just going to give the inside a little spray. Okay. All right, so now let me go ahead and put the camera down at a better angle, and I'll show you guys what is next. All right, so now I've got my pan sprayed out. Let's grab our ingredients. All right, this is my cheat sheet here if you guys want to take a quick screen print, and then I'll get started. All right, so the key to making bread in a bread maker is putting your wet ingredients first, then your dry ingredients, and your yeast last. My first wet ingredient is 1 1/4 cups of water. So here is 1 1/4 cups. So we're going to put the water in first. Next is our oil, and we're going to put 2 tablespoons of oil. I am completely out of olive oil, so I'm just using just regular vegetable oil. And I usually use the cap as my guide, and I'll put 2 capfuls. That is right at tablespoon each. So there's 2 tablespoons of oil. All right, so our next ingredient is going to be maple syrup. This is the maple syrup I'm going to use. It's just the regular Walmart brand. And I do keep maple syrup in my refrigerator. So let's get a 1/4 cup here. All right, so there's a 1/4 cup. And that is it for our wet ingredients. So now let's move on to our dry ingredients. And I like to put the flour in first so that it covers up all of the liquid. All right, so what I have here is just a bag that I keep in my freezer. This is Pillsbury bread flour, and we are going to need 3 1/2 cups of flour. All right, so this is a 1/4 cup. And let's see if I can scooch that over where you can see what I'm doing here. All right, so I'm just tapping it and then leveling it off. So there is 1/4. Again, tapping it, leveling it off. There's a 1/2 cup. Set that aside. This is a 1 cup measuring cup. And again, just kind of tapping it in there. You definitely don't want to pack this in. And okay, so there is 1 cup. And we'll put the 2nd cup over here where we still have liquid visible, because when we put our yeast in, we want to put our yeast where it is not going to get wet. We want it to knead in last. So that's 2 cups, just 1 more. All right, so there is 3 cups. So 3 1/2 cups total of flour. Let me set this aside. All right, next is this Nutstop, and this is the pecan meal. I love putting this stuff in my bread, and I have, so my recipe calls for flax, and what I do is instead of the flax, I'm going to add pecan meal in its place. Flax is pretty good, pecan meal is better. And then also on my recipe card, I substitute maple syrup for honey, and then regular vegetable oil oil for olive oil. All right, so now let me grab, I'm gonna do, because all I have clean is 1/3 of a cup. So let's just put, we'll do 1/3 of a cup of pecan meal because you can never have enough pecan meal. So there's 1/3 of a cup, and I'm gonna put that over here on the side. Next, we're gonna add in a little bit of salt, and we'll just give it a couple of shakes there. All right, last is the yeast. So what you want to do, and my hands are clean, is just kind of dig out a little hole in the middle for your yeast to go in. That way, as the little paddle is kneading the dough, it will get to the yeast last. This is the yeast that I have on hand. It is the Fleischmann's active dry yeast. I keep this in my refrigerator, and we're going to put 2 teaspoons, right? Yeah, 2 teaspoons of yeast. So here is a 1 teaspoon. So here's 1, and we're going to put that right in the middle. And then the last one, again, right in the middle. And that is our last ingredient. So now, let me put this stuff away. All right, so the last part of this is to put the little handle on the basket and place it in the bread maker. All right, so let's open this up. I want to be careful. So we definitely don't want our yeast to get wet. All right, I had to take some stuff apart here. All right, so here is my bread maker. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to take this little thing here, and we're going to place it down inside, being very, very careful. Now, when you set this down, you do it at kind of an angle because then you twist it and this locks in place. So now I'm tugging on this. You cannot pull this up. All right, so that's ready. So now we're going to close the bread maker. And on my bread maker, we are going to hit first. Let's see, we'll do the menu option because what we're going to select is whole wheat, is number 4. That just tends to work a little bit better for me. So here's 4, and then this is normal, which is good. Then the loaf size over here, I want to change that to 1.5, and then our bread is going to be medium. All right, so now I'm just going to hit start. And it is going to knead, rise, and it'll do these 2, I think 3 times. This takes several hours to make. So it'll knead, it'll rise, knead, rise, and then it will bake for however long. And I will try to cut in. It's kind of hard to catch this thing because it is pretty quiet. But one trick I will tell you while this is kneading is after it gets started and it starts to form a little bit of a ball, I will take a spatula and scrape along the edge so that it gets all the flour. Otherwise, I find that once it's time to bake, that there's like just regular flour still on the crust, which is not good. So we'll let this knead, and I'll be back here soon. All right, so this has been kneading for just a little while, and I'm just taking a regular, this actually came from the Dollar Tree, some cheap old scraper spatula, and I'm just going to start scraping down the sides like so. Scrape that off on the dough ball. There she goes. helps it along. Otherwise, I'm telling you, if you don't scrape off the edge, it will, when it bakes, you'll have all of this flour on the crust of your bread, and that is not good. Doesn't turn out very well that way. All right, so I think that's all the help it needs. Just trying to get that off of my spatula there. So you tell the inside is fairly clean. All right, so now that we've got that scraped down, we're just gonna let this do its thing. This is going to take, like I said, several hours to cook, and it is probably 2:30 in the afternoon right now as it is kneading. I don't expect this to be done until well after dinner time. So I'll be back as soon as it goes on to its next stage. I'll try to catch it while it's rising. Hey guys, I wanted to jump on here and show you that the bread is rising. I don't want to keep this open for too long, but the bread maker kneaded the bread. It did a rise cycle. It kneaded again. This is the second rise. I think it needs to do one more knead cycle and one more rise cycle before it moves on to bake. So if that happens, I will try to jump in here and show you guys how lovely the bread is looking. If not, I'll show you as soon as it is done. All right, it is rising for the last time, and I guess it is late here. It's almost bedtime. This is not going to be done before I go to sleep, so in the morning when I wake up, I will have bread ready. So I will see you guys back here tomorrow. Hey guys, my bread just came out of my bread maker. It is about 7:40 p.m. and so it took, what was that, almost 5 hours from start to finish, from the time I loaded the bread maker until it was done. And this bread turned out really, really nice. It is the perfect medium color, and it smells wonderful. You can see the specks of pecan meal in this bread. I tell you, this is my favorite way to make bread. The pecan meal with the maple syrup is amazing. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope that you will give this recipe a try. If you do, let me know what you think of it. And I guess I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you're at. Bye.